The United Nations estimates that more than 5 million Ukrainians have fled their country since the Russian invasion. So imagine about half the population of Michigan having to find somewhere else to live. But Ukraine is just the most recent evacuation point. There are about 2.5 million Afghan refugees. And to try to address the needs of that growing diaspora comes the Detroit Refugee Network, a coalition of groups both private and public, and it's co-chaired by my next two guests, Kelly Dobner, who's the Chief Advancement Officer for Samaritas, and the First Lady for the City of Detroit, Dr. Sonia Hassan. Thank you both very much for being here. Dr. Hassan, I want to start with you because this is before we get into the nuts and bolts of how this is going to work, this, I believe, is really the first task you've kind of taken on as First Lady. I'm assuming it means it's near and dear to your heart.
It is. It's really a pleasure and honor to be doing this with Samaritas and co-chairing this. My parents are immigrants from Egypt, not refugees, but they came with the idea and the determination and passion to live the American dream, come with nothing, $100 in their pocket, and built, what they have today, and gave us the life that we have. So I feel very fortunate to have had that, and sure. And we'd like to make the same place for people that want the same.
But we also understand, Kelly, that there's a difference between being an immigrant and being a refugee. And being a refugee, of course, you are an immigrant, but you're also one that is coming under great duress and without, I suppose, many other options in your life, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Most refugees that come into our care have the clothes on their back and maybe a bag with some paperwork that they could grab in the meantime, but they are usually fleeing for their life, whether it's war-torn country or invasions of some sort. It's scarce what they have, and so they need everything.
We have seen, and I'll let you both address this, we have seen an outpour. I think there's a lot of American sympathy for what we're watching in places like Afghanistan, and certainly with how direct and dire the situation that's been televised from Ukraine. But you also know it's a pretty fraught time to be involved with not just with any kind of immigration question in America right now. It's always been tricky, but this is a particularly divisive political time, isn't it?
It can be, yes. I find for the most part people have reached out and are very, very interested in seeing how can they help. I think they see that it's, as Kelly mentioned, there are people who have nothing and they've left their country with 30 minutes notice, many cases, left everything they had, and so people sympathize with that need to help them.
Same thing, Kelly.
Yeah, yes, exactly. They come with nothing. It has to be very quickly, or it happens very quickly. And like you mentioned, we've all seen these world events transpire, right in front of us on film. And so I have not seen it so, I guess you could say, unifying as I have with both the Afghanistan crisis and the Ukraine crisis. People have been calling, emailing, finding out what can I do? I have a house, I have a job, I have funds that I'd like to donate. It's been very unifying.
That's what a lot of Americans are going to be called on to do now. We've watched, for instance, Poland take on really the lion's share, but they can't handle them all, especially as we don't know how long this is going to go on. Detroit is a city built on both migration and immigration in a lot of different ways. People have been coming to this city from other places for a long time. I guess in that way, it's kind of already in our fabric, isn't it?
It is. In many ways it is, just because of the history. And then in the more recent history of the policy and the commitment to doing it, we're just designated the Welcome City, a week or so ago, one of 14 in the U.S., with the dedication to help people coming to this country, and I think it will continue to do so.
So explain how the Refugee Network is now supposed to run and why it's different from, well, for instance, what Samaritas has been doing all this time.
That's a great question. It's different because it's a coalition of community, civic, and corporate leaders. We have cross-sector, cross-industry people, like I was saying, coming out of the woodwork to be able to help in some way. And what makes it unique is that it's coordinated and it's collaborative. Not just within resettlement agency work that we're used to doing for the last 70 years within Michigan at Samaritas anyway, but it really is it's a true network. People recognize that we needed to respond boldly and quickly, and this network formed, I can't say without a lot of effort. It has been a lot of effort through August, or starting in August, But the ease of how it's come together and people working together, leaving their differences at the door to help the stranger, to welcome the stranger in a place like Detroit that has that strong history and a haven for refugees has been a true honor to be a part of. And when you add co-leadership like with Dr. Hassan, it just makes it that much more powerful and meaningful.
Now, you know that you're going to have, because the federal government's already talking about a commitment to allowing, bringing refugees in. You don't know exactly how or when they're going to arrive, but I guess the question becomes, is there any thought given to, well, Detroit already has, for instance, a pretty big Ukrainian community. We have a large Middle Eastern community, but it hasn't always been a large Afghan community. Is that thought sort of given to a location by the governments doing this, or is it kind of like we need everybody to pitch in and take what they can?
I think we need everyone to pitch in and take what they can, because the numbers are somewhat not known, and they will probably be higher than we even can anticipate. And I think that will come forward. We'll take them because, as we said, I think before a lot, everybody wants an opportunity. We are here to give it to them in some way that we can do it. With this network, I think it will make a difference because they'll get that initial support, from the federal government, but that is a limited time, and you've got to be able to sustain them for that, their housing and their education and legal work and healthcare. All of those things are things that the network will help to provide.
In fact, that's if you end up with where there might be pushback, Kelly, is that look, the times are tough all over right now. We're watching an economy that is really hitting a lot of people really hard, and this stuff all costs money. These commitments to help, is the money there?
It is. It is. I think people have, we have our strong government partners, and then people have been overwhelmingly generous with what they can give, whether that's funding or alleviating the need to spend money by offering housing and food and clothing, basic needs, furniture. That helps tremendously. And when we're looking at where people will be placed, we know the Pacific South or Northwest is a great place for Ukrainians. There's a big contingent there. Mm-hmm. There's a huge contingent here as well. So that's why we are preparing. We are using that time to build our infrastructure, organize, mobilize not only the Ukrainian community that is here for that cultural, social orientation that's vital to that road to self-sufficiency, which most families achieve in our care within 180 days. That's only done through a village like this network.
Just about out of time, but if I am someone who wants to help, what do I do? Whether I've got a bed in my house or want to commit to being somebody's liaison sort of in the community, what do I do?
So we have a website set up. If you want to,
we do.
Yeah.
Yes,
we'll link that on our
if we link it up,
website.
and
excellent.
They can go on there, and it will direct them to either give funds, also volunteer to give things like you're saying. We've had someone donate a whole warehouse of furniture, for example. So it would be great. We would love it.
Yeah, great. I don't think we will run out of issues on this to talk about in the future because it's going to be a growing matter, and I hope we'll have you back to talk about it real soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devin.